Arab coalition confirmed that it has launched a military operation against the Houthi targets, saying that their targeting civilians is a red line. The operation comes as the Houthi militias continue to target the kingdom with drones and ballistic missiles. Coalition spokesperson Colonel Turki Al-Malki said at a press conference that the coalition would take harsh measures against the Houthis if they targeted civilian areas, and the kingdom would not tolerate such attacks. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune said France will return the remains of 24 resistance fighters who were killed during its colonization of the North African country. Tebboune said some of the remains belong to leaders of the resistance movement who were killed in the 19th century fighting against France, which occupied and ruled Algeria for 132 years. In his speech, Tebboune said these resistance fighters had been deprived of their natural and human right to be buried for more than 170 years. Jordan has extended a ban on cigarettes in closed public spaces to all forms of smoking, citing the fight against COVID-19 in a country with one of the world's highest smoking rates. In order to protect the health and safety of citizens, especially given the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath, smoking of all forms, cigarettes, electronic cigarettes and shisha is banned in closed public places. The World Health Organization has long ranked Jordan's 10 million inhabitants among the world's biggest smokers. Sweden said that Iran had agreed to compensate the families of the foreign victims of a Ukrainian passenger plane that was shot down outside Tehran in January. The Boeing 737 aircraft was struck by two missiles and crashed shortly after taking off from Tehran airport on January 8, killing all 176 people on board. Iran admitted days later that its forces accidentally shot down the Kiev-bound jetliner. France's foreign ministry said it had spoken to Turkey's envoy to refute inaccurate and biased claims he made during a hearing with French senators. In the hearing, Ambassador Ismail Haqqi Musa accused France of favoring Eastern Libyan commander Khalifa Haftar and said French warships had been aggressive during an incident with Turkish warships on the Mediterranean last month. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Agnes von der Maal said that the envoy had been reminded of the unacceptable character of Turkish behavior. India has opened up its vast railway sector to private companies, allowing firms to operate trains on certain routes in a bid to boost its stuttering, virus-hit economy. The 167-year-old train network carries 20 million passengers daily, but is plagued by deadly accidents, rickety infrastructure, lack of modern amenities and poor investment. In an announcement late Wednesday, the Railway Ministry said it would now permit businesses to run trains along 109 routes, inviting bids from firms weeks after New Delhi opened up coal mining to the private sector. Emirates, one of the world's biggest long-haul airlines, has processed close to 650,000 refunds over the past 2 months, refunding over $517 million. The Dubai-based carrier is operating a limited number of flights on a reduced network after the coronavirus pandemic brought global aviation to a near halt this year. Emirates expect to process more than 500,000 refunds in the next 2 months, Chief Commercial Officer Adnan Kazim said in a statement. The Security Council echoed the Secretary-General's call for a worldwide ceasefire to combat the coronavirus pandemic that has already claimed more than 500,000 lives. The UN chief welcomed the long-awaited move, calling for countries to redouble their efforts for peace, unanimously adopting Resolution 2532 of 2020 on Wednesday. The 15-member Peace and Security body demanded a general and immediate cessation of hostilities in all situations on its agenda. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization has reported some damage was inflicted on a building currently under construction at a nuclear facility in Natanz. However, it said there's no need to worry about possible radiation release. There were no casualties among personnel, and the incident did not disrupt the current activities of the complex. The Natanz site is thought to be Iran's prime uranium enrichment facility and a key part of the nation's nuclear program. The United States Treasury Department announced that it has struck a deal with 5 U.S. airline companies for portions of $25 billion in federal loans aimed at softening the blow of the coronavirus pandemic on their businesses. In a press statement, the Treasury Department said American Airlines, Frontier Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, SkyWest Airlines, and Spirit Airlines have signed letters of intent, setting out the terms on which Treasury would extend loans under a relevant provision of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Meanwhile, a Treasury Department spokesperson said that the other airline companies also expect to be eligible for billions in federal loans, but haven't yet signed letters of intent, though conversations are ongoing. Diplomats fear the worst is yet to come in Lebanon as the financial and economic situation spiral out of control and residents face difficulty obtaining their most basic needs, including bread. Lebanese officials are also raising the possibility of a government shakeup as Prime Minister Hassan Diab has failed to put an end to the deteriorating socio-economic situation. Meanwhile, Diab's government, made up of Hezbollah and its allies, formed in January, has failed to implement reforms promised and called for by the international community. Kuwait Airways will restart commercial flights from August 1st. In a tweet, the state-owned airlines said that it will begin commercial flights to its destinations next month. Kuwait's Council of Ministers approved a 3-stage plan to restart commercial flights to and from the country's Kuwait International Airport. The flights will be operated at 30% capacity during the first phase, in accordance with the health and safety requirements outlined by authorities to prevent the transmission of the COVID-19 virus. France's Foreign Ministry said that the 6th century Hagia Sophia Museum, originally built as a Christian cathedral in Istanbul, must remain open to all. A Turkish court heard a petition seeking to convert one of Turkey's most visited and beloved tourist sites back into a mosque. France's appeal comes after the spiritual head of the world's Orthodox Christians warned that converting Istanbul's 6th century Hagia Sophia back into a mosque would sow division. A string of top retail shops in Lebanon announced temporary closures after the country's currency lost 5/6 of its value, triggering sharp price hikes. In a series of posts on social media, the popular stores said they would temporarily halt sales as the Lebanese pound reached more than 9,000 to the dollar on the black market. Several supermarkets, retail stores and butcher shops have closed in recent days because of the currency crisis.